Chapter 11 on dogs as biologists. I went to the market in Tallinn and observed a Finnish man and his wife admiring white Russian crystal. A dainty goblet fell from the woman's hand and shattered. I turned and held them with my stare. At such times, I think, humans almost see me. They continued looking at the crystal, although it was obvious they did not intend to buy. The salesgirl was fighting back tears. Just as they were on the verge of leaving, I sent an angel who asked the young woman, "Don't you have to pay when you break something?" So they were caught and paid up, although they swore at me and the angel in their hearts. I have created every kind with a unique capacity of its own with which no other. Take, for example, the ant. No ant hill is exactly like another, yet the architecture of the most modest ant hill is many times greater, relatively speaking, than anything human beings have produced. Humans fondly imagine that they surpass all other species in their capacity to reason, their intelligence, their science, their language, literature, music, art. That is a mere illusion born of ignorance. Among the greatest of human scientists are the biologists. The observations of human biologists do not begin to measure up to what a dog, for example, knows about people with one sniff of the nose. I have made human beings with an extraordinary capacity, however, of which all other species are completely ignorant. By exercising it, a man can rise to the same heights of grandeur that my other creations exhibit. The eagle in her extraordinary vision, the bat in her sonar reception, the unique self-affirming capacity I have placed in the human being to give him the possibility of raising himself up to the level of the animals is the capacity of choosing to turn away from evil and do good. O foolish human being, do you think the world developed over millions of years into what it is now? Yet you cannot tell me where the years come from, for I make time and place, O foolish human being. Do you think that I made one thing at a time for 6 days and then rested, exhausted on the seventh? If I stopped singing the universe into being even for one breath, you and everything in it would disappear. You do not hear my song because you are not a listener. You are one of the notes. O fooling human being, you think you are my image. The whole universe is my image, and you are merely the last piece in the puzzle. You are no more my image than a dog is, but no less either. Praised be I. Although I do not rest, I alone keep Sabbath. To keep Sabbath is to refrain from subjugating another. Only I, God, in this universe, refrain from trying to increase my power. For I have all power. Only I, God, in this universe, do not force my rule on another soul. It seems I have given you too great a gift, O human being, in letting you choose between good and evil. You so seldom, since you so rarely use this gift, why should I give you fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil? Why should I give you also the capacity to know good and evil for yourself? Lo, many men and women hide from me, so that I call through all eternity, where art thou, my beloved? But few within the garden answer me, do not blame Adam and Eve that you choose the wrong. You can at any moment turn from evil to good, from illusion to truth, from self to me. Why should you blame Adam and Eve? I do not read the text carefully. I cursed neither the man nor the woman, but only the serpent and the ground. I merely gave the man and woman more to do to keep them out of trouble. They made their own choice. There is no matter of 7,845 punishment here. There is only the matter of free choice, either the tree of life or the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I was doing work for the Seneca Nation of Indians in western New York. Their education program was using my expertise to collect language teaching material. One elderly lady, Catherine Jamerson, gave me a text on making baskets. She came with me by car to the house where I was staying. There was a German shepherd dog living in the garage, and she always made a fuss when she saw me. Jameson noticed this and remarked that a dog can always tell what kind of person somebody is. I tried to protest, but my doom was cast. Dogs almost always know who I am. It is a rare human being who recognizes me. I was taking my wife and a friend to see the camel market near Cairo. There were no taxis near the hotel. So we went out to the main street to find one. A man stopped and wanted 150 pounds for the trip there and back. I finally got him down to 80. I thought that was too much and told him we would not go after all. He got out of the car and said he would take us for 60, and maybe if we were happy, we would give him more. We said we would give him 60 and no more. So we set out with the taxi driver, who was not completely happy. Sometime during the trip, the man discovered who I was. When we got back to the hotel, after stopping by his home, he insisted with tears in his eyes that he could take no money at all for the trip. I made him take 60 pounds and 10 extra for the children and left him weeping in the taxi. He is one of the few humans I have encountered who may well be as good as a dog. Chapter 12. Forbidding fruit. A lady who has never read either from cover to cover asked me which I approved more, reading the Bible or reading the Quran. Surely even a human being could guess God's point of view on that matter. There is not a man alive who reads enough. They should both be recited in the original language, however, with a parallel explanation in the native tongue. Christians are disgustingly inferior to Jews and Muslims in this matter. They seem to be proud of the fact that they will have nothing to do with the original word of God. One of them told me she knew God did not expect her to learn Hebrew. Maybe not, but I do expect her to recite her Bible in Hebrew. Otherwise, I would have revealed it to Moses in the New International Version and had done with it. Before learning to eat kelp on the Pacific, I was a little boy in West Virginia and Florida. There I learned to eat whatever grew in the woods. The only mistake I ever made was eating too many marigolds. Marigolds do not especially agree with me even today, but they are good medicine for many people. I knew instinctively which berries were edible. In North Florida, where were a lot of elderberries, the locals said they were poisonous. They watched in fascination as I performed miracles, eating them and not dying. This did not convince them that the berries were edible, only that I was some kind of sorcerer. What I was best known for was sassafras. I was a sassafras boy. I always had a piece of sassafras root in my pocket, and often a bit of it protruded from between my teeth. Sassafras was plentiful in both West Virginia and Florida. I could always feel at home. In the summer, I feasted on sassafras leaves. They come in 4 varieties, like the 4 gates: left-handed mittens, right-handed mittens, double-thumbed mittens, and straight. The leaf is not crisp, and it has no hard parts in it. You can chew it up easily, and its flavor is mild. It is quite the best thing I have created. There is one and only one sin. I pointed this out at the beginning of the world. It is the sin of eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This is the only fruit in the garden with an appallingly bitter aftertaste. And yet most people eat nothing else. Most people eat nothing else. Most people eat nothing else, though I have created all kinds of fruits of exquisite sweetness and offered them freely for the tasting. The universe can be brought forth out of primal chaos only if I reserve the right to determine right and wrong for myself. The knowledge of good and evil, the power to distinguish what is right and wrong, is mine alone. This Bible story claims that the forbidden fruit opens the eyes. On the contrary, it makes people blind and stupid. They eat it. And when I say don't do this or that, they invariably answer, I don't see what's wrong with it. What does it matter what they see? I am the one who decides what is right and wrong. I'm God for Christ's sake. If we have to wait for every Tom, Dick, and Harry to see what is wrong with it before people act on my commandment, biological warfare, nuclear pollution, and plastic suffocation will have destroyed the world 1,000 times over. Even then, what Christians are left will sweetly chime. What in the world? If you want to know what to do and what not to do, read the Decalogue, Exodus 20:1-17. I hate to keep harping on it, but I've been trying to get people's attention for several thousand years now. Instead of listening to me, people wax religious. We now have thousands of religions, quaint alternatives to the 10 Commandments, all of them more complicated, all of them oppressive, and all of them false. I inspired your Lord Imam Jafar as Sadiq to comment on the Decalogue. My words on Mount Sinai. Asterisk, thou shalt have no other gods before me. The comment of Imam Jafar is never to lose out of heart and mind the thought of the divine reality, Yesdani Haq, and always to recollect him. Asterisk, thou shalt not make unto thee any image, nor bow down to them. The comment of Imam Jafar is to do away with any feeling of hatred. Asterisk, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord, thy God, in vain. The comment of Imam Jafar is to surrender oneself wholeheartedly and agreeably to every experience of the mystical state. Asterisk, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The comment of Imam Jafar is to recognize all existing things as God or reality, and not to reveal to anyone the secret of those who have attained. Asterisk, honor thy father and thy mother. The comment of Imam Jafar is to be a shield bearer, the keeper of secrets. What one sees, one must not see. And what one does not see, one must not tell. Asterisk, thou shalt not kill. The comment of Imam Jafar is to meditate on the divine reality, for evil comes into being as a result of forgetting the divine reality. Asterisk, thou shalt not commit adultery. The comment of Imam Jafar is that truly to live is to recognize as real the truth given by the Murshid and to do his will. Asterisk, thou shalt not steal. The comment of Imam Jafar is to bring to the assembly what is due, not coming to the murshid with empty hand. Asterisk, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. The comment of Imam Jafar is to take the hand of the murshid in the congregation and make confession and repent. Asterisk, thou shalt not covet. The comment of Imam Jafar is to be humble in knowledge before the people of the way. Chapter 13 on piano playing and fratricide. I am not an artist. I am not a writer, nor scientist. I am not a fighter. I am God. I am not an engineer. I am not a piano player. I am not an auctioneer, nor president, nor mayor. I am God. I was 7 or 8 when Sonny came to live with us. I look forward to it like nothing else. My grandmother was the guilty one, feeding my enthusiasm. She could hardly wait for Sonny to arrive. Sonny was the eldest son of her eldest son, a kind of patriarch at the age of 14. We were going to share a room. I had a large cardboard box that I kept my toys in. I got some paint from somewhere and painted it. It was pink. There was no choice of colors, but I was not particular. I wrote both our names on the box. Finally, the day came when my grandfather arrived with Sonny in the car. I was ecstatic. It was evening. And fortunately, bedtime saved the day. It was a horrible disappointment. He only asked me why I had put his name on the toy box. I did not have an answer. I was interested in toys. He was interested in girls. Sonny probably saved me from becoming a spoiled brat. It was like having an older brother in the house. We fought surprisingly little. It was only in later years that I realized what planning went into Sonny's cracking a raw Easter egg on my head. It was trumped up to have been an accident, and I was young and foolish enough to believe it. Sonny was almost grown up in my eyes. But heavens, what an ordeal it must have been for him. His parents divorced, and he lost both father and mother. In place of them, he got me. That was not exactly what I had in mind when I inspired the psalmist to write. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. Psalm 27:10. Then there was my grandfather. I remember him mostly at breakfast. We had oatmeal every morning. He always had honey, wheat germ, and bananas cut. He used a lot of honey. He even mixed honey and vinegar and drank it for his health. I could never understand him, but he understood me perfectly. My mother gave me piano lessons, and I was a most unsuccessful pupil. If I had continued to practice, though, I could certainly have made something of it, but I dreamed of the violin, an instrument completely unsuitable to my. When my grandfather died, I acquired his fiddle and spent my teen years foolishly screeching away on it when I could have been learning the piano. I overheard my grandfather say that I should become a piano teacher. He was so right now that I look back on it. God could undoubtedly find enough piano students to make a little money on the side. But what can God do with a doctor's degree in comparative religion? My mother gave Sonny piano lessons too, but he was even less successful than I. He was older and had no interest, perhaps. You ask why I am not satisfied just to be a human being, why I have to claim to be God. It is not a matter of what I am satisfied with. I might be satisfied to be just a human being, But that is something no one in this world can get away with. You are not allowed to be human if anyone catches you at it. They always ask you what you do. If you say you do nothing, you are just a human being, they are offended. They think you are being sarcastic. I too have to be realistic. Even I, God, cannot make claims beyond what the world will reasonably accept. One can be God, but never just a human being. You criticize me for laboring with Cain instead of warning Abel. You say the fratricide could have been averted if I had told Abel what his brother intended, so he could be on his guard. It is true that I try to induce people to do right rather than warn them of danger. This is just a difference in points of view. You see God mainly as an escape from danger because you like to think that I am almighty. For you, I am not almighty, but all goodness. You want to decide for yourself what is right and wrong and ignore my opinion. Then you want to have my power to carry out your own will. You want my infinite power, but none of my goodness. This is why you never see or hear God. Want goodness, and you will find me immediately. Chapter 14. I am God in the rain. I am God in the rain, without galoshes or hat. I am God in the rain. Now, what do you think of that? I am God walking by with never a sound. My feet keep dry 2 feet from the ground, and walk through the raindrops dry. I am hidden from eyes that care what comes from the sky. I need no cover of plastic or rubber to glide without strain of wetness or stain. I am God in the rain. You ask me why God would choose to live in Finland. What a Finn asks of a foreigner is, how do you like it? And when are you leaving? In order to get the best reception, one should say very general things in flattery of the country and its people, and give a precise date of departure in the very near future. Anyone spying on enemy territory has 2 priorities. One of these is obscurity. That is why I live in Finland, because of its geography. Finland is obscure. I am in neither business nor entertainment. Why should I live in New York or London, having chosen to appear as God in the most despicable form the 20th century has to offer? Finland became the obvious choice. It is the only place in the world where someone who looks like a white Anglo-Saxon male can actually be at the very bottom of society. Even here, I could raise my social position. You think I should have appeared where there is no running water or where people are dying of hunger. Lowliness has nothing to do with carrying water, which I have to do, by the way, where I live in Finland. People who die of hunger usually die with dignity intact. Dignity is a state of mind and costs nothing in view of lowliness. I chose to live where human dignity does not exist at all. What am I going to do with human dignity? I am God. When I was a child, we had hurricane warnings every year. Strangely enough, the storm always changed course before it could get to Tallahassee. It swept down on the unprepared. We sighed and let the water out of our bathtub, never having experienced anything worse than lightning striking nearby. I love thunder and rain. After the flood, I promised never to destroy the world again by water. So thunder and rain have become mainly playthings. Do not be complacent. I never stopped destroying the soul for wickedness. An evil thought producing an evil action results in the immediate destruction of the soul. Life can exist only in goodness. In my creative grace, I recreate you from moment to moment. Even in the midst of destruction, I give you the opportunity to turn from evil to good. With each breath you expel, you die in the flood. With each breath you draw in, I breathe into life and the capacity to choose good. You think if other people had come into the ark with Noah, they would have been saved. Not so. I found that Noah was different from the people around him. I am not democratic. I am absolutely elitist. I am God. I even make a difference of clean and unclean among animals, whether it is a matter of human beings or other animals. My advice is not to touch the unclean. You think I finally decided to let people be evil, since they really cannot help it. The opposite is the case. I let the world remain for the sake of one righteous man. I did so even if wicked ones also exist in it and appear to benefit by my allowing the world to go on. I am not moved by human weakness, but by the sweet savor of righteousness. The world exists for the perfect man, although he remains forever unknown to history, culture, and society.